So here's the thing. Midterms are still happening next week, so I promised I would study all week because I did really poorly on my last set of midterms. So I swore I would study the whole week, but I also really wanted to play games. So we're filming a video, another study video. This one is about horticulture. I didn't study a video last time, so I blame not filming a video for my terrible grades. I got about like 70% and I studied so much. No, that's a lie. So I figured Stardew Valley would be a good choice for studying horticulture. So I'm just gonna start a new farm. Because my other farm, I've done absolutely everything. I have like $1 million bucks. What's my farm name? I need something dumb. Mothman. Doing another cryptid farm. Oh no, what's my favorite thing? It's also Mothman! Okay. So I have like 50 chapters to do. I'm gonna stick with standard farm because last time I did wilderness farm and it sucks. I've done all of these farms. Like, if you don't know how much I like Stardew Valley, I like it a lot. I've got like I've got 200 hours on the PC version and about 90 hours on this one. It's just such a good game. Like, if you don't know, get out of here. Go buy it right now. Play Stardew Valley. It's so much fun. What color's my hair? Okay. So, anyway, what I'm studying is asexual propagation and grafting. Now, I did pretty bad on the grafting lab. And I know exactly what shirt I want. Waluigi! Wah! And I need my glasses. So, for what is this? Okay, chapter 4. Hold on. I can't focus. I'm too focused on being Waluigi right now. Oh god. Is that about right? No, a little darker. Nope, a little lighter. Nope. Can't get it. That's good enough. I think that's good. So, like, every time I play Stardew Valley, I always end up doing the exact same thing. I never go the JoJo route, and I never marry anyone except Penny. And this time, I'm gonna do exactly that again! Because I love Penny, I would never betray her, and I also don't want to do the JoJo route, because whatever. But this time, with my farm, I'm gonna focus all on money. So this might actually continue beyond just the study video, because I have many tips to give people who are new to Stardew Valley, because I've been playing this for many hours. But anyways, the focus of this video is supposed to be my studying video, so let me just get into this. Okay, so clones. Cloning plants. Okay, this is already terrible because I don't know. I never pay attention in class. I'm always playing games in class because I'm an idiot. But when you clone plants, you get a progeny, a baby, that's completely identical in genotype, their genes, as the source plant, like where you got the genes from. So I don't mean like in a lab cloning with plants. You just cut a piece of the plant off and you stick it in the ground and it's exactly the same. It's like if you took a finger off and put it in the ground and it grew into a little baby. Like, basically like that. If that happened, that would be awesome. But anyway. So that would make a clone, just the noun, a genetically identical little baby. A genetically identical plant. I'm just going through the vocab sheet right now because I'm so bad at this. So clonal selection. Hold on. Why am I wearing my headphones? Let me just take those off, because it's really bugging me. So clonal selection is just when you pick the best clone out. Like, you're supposed to get a bunch of your clones when you make them, and like evaluate them, and the best clone is picked, and it becomes like a new cultivar basically. So like that's how you get new kinds of plants. You make up a new plant, and then you just keep cloning that one until it's beautiful. And that becomes new plants. Like, that's how you get, like, these plants with silly names. Like, oh god, now I can't remember any, but you know what I mean. What's next? The stock plant. The stock plant is the mother plant you get the cuttings from, or the babies. Like, that's what's harvested. Like my example before, the mother plant is literally the mother that you just pick all the little bits off and you stick. Robin! I'm not going to be reading all the text boxes because I'm sure you can read, and you should probably play this. If you haven't played this, go play it. If you have played this, you know what Robin says. So, what are some reasons for using cloned cultivars? Well, you get like a fixed genotype. Every single plant's going to be exactly the same. Plants can be improved, and they'll just be reproduced without loss of any unique characteristics that could happen. Like if you just planted by seed, you would lose a bunch of cool stuff that you bred into the plant. Sorry. Why else? Yeah, uniformity. When you clone plants, you stick them into the ground, they'll all look exactly the same. So it's great for like, if you're doing like landscape design, you want all the trees to look the same. So uniformity, you clone them. What else? Propagation. It's more reliable than seed. You can just stick in the plant bits into the ground and it's totally fine. They'll be fine, and it's just as good as seed, I think. Shorter time to flower than seed because it starts as a bit instead of like a few leaves instead of, or a bud instead of a seed. You get like an extra month out of it, like faster. Ah, shoot, I don't know. Okay, let me read this. Progeny plants will flower at an earlier age since they are more mature, in a more mature phase of development. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they're more developed already. Why else? You can combine genotypes, like with grafting. Alright, here we go, day 1. When you graft plants, you can just... There's a lot you can do. That's the next chapter, and I will get into that later. Am I learning anything? I don't know. Oh god, the saving times are just as bad as before. I thought it was fixed. Oh, I wanted to play Stardew, mostly because I haven't played it in so long, but also because, multiplayer is coming up soon. And I figured, let's get back into it. Oh geez, I have to fix this. It's bad, it's bad. I recommend you also fix this. Oh wait, how loud is this? Where was I? What was I doing? Oh, I was turning off. Where is it? I don't want to closure. Menu, lock toolbar. Yep. Should I turn it down? Can you hear me? No, it's at -10. Okay. So my favorite part of any farm sim is to just clean stuff up. So while I do that, let me look at... Oh, I missed a couple. You also want to clone stuff because you get improved vigor that way. Like, the plants will be much stronger, fuller, stockier even, and they grow more vigorously than when you're just using seed. So what I like to do here is just clear an area right in front of my house. You don't want to chop all this grass because you'll need it for your animals. I'm not going to do animals, I'm doing all crops. So that is my specialty in real life. And that's what I do in a real farm. You can also control the phases of development when you're cloning. You can maintain them, so like... You can reverse like specific growth phases, like with juvenile plants. That means they have not flowered, they have not fruited. So you can just chop off the flowers and the fruits and it goes from a mature plant back to a juvenile plant. I don't really understand why, but that's what I learned. So, origins of clones, like why would you want to clone something when you have perfectly good seed, right? Well, sometimes you'll get a mutation that you can't reproduce with seed. Like, with mutations, it causes a noticeable change in plants. Like, maybe you'll get a new color, maybe you'll get cool spots all over it. Maybe... Like, you can induce all these physical changes by like chemical or radiation treatments. Artificial. Okay, first thing you want to do is build a chest, first of all. Forgot to do that. So like, there's some shrub cultivars that you get only from weird mutations and cloning those. Like, you can't get a clone, you can't get the same stuff you get from one thing if you're starting it from seed. Like, you get that. God, these little trees. Okay, so there's also like different kinds of variations with the mutations. Like, you get chimeras. Oh, I don't have enough. 50? Yikes. I don't remember that. So what are chimeras? Chimeras, chimeras, whatever. Well, in a plant, a chimera is like a little island of cells, mutant cells, within a growing point of a stem. So it's like, you know, where the leaves come out when you're first planting something, and the leaves come out there. Right in between there, that's the growing point. That's where all the new cells come from. And if there's a little pile of mutant cells right around there, that's how you get weird mutations and chimeras, where you get like a bunch of weird different stuff. I wish I wasn't being like... I love how the tutorial is so short in this game. It's... well, actually, there is no tutorial. It's just the intro scene, and it's just like, you're free to do stuff. It's like, thank you. Thank you so much. I do know what I'm doing. But then you always hear like people on the internet are like, I don't know what to do, help me. Well, go play some Harvest Moon, dummy. Okay, I always put my chest here, and then I put a path here, and then I always like to put my crop starting here. I don't know why, I always do that every single time. Oh, I have to learn about a bunch of stuff for like plant law, like legislation to protect cultivars. Like, if you have a clone that and you register it and everything, that is your clone. If someone copies it, you can get like banned from plant stuff. It's pretty intense. Do I have enough health for this? Energy. Oh shoot, I should have made some. No, it's fine. Oh, that's good. So first thing you want to do after you're done cleaning up your farm is plant these, and then say hi to everybody. Which I will do in a second. Oops, shoot, I'm running out of energy. Please. Please, yes! Planting seeds doesn't cost nothing. Okay, now just leave that on the side so I don't accidentally use it, because the scythe uses nothing. So like with all this plant law stuff, you need... oh, I should dump out all my stuff. There's like... you have trademarks to register, you have all these rights protection things, there's very specific Canadian legislation stuff that I don't understand, because I don't know a goddamn thing about law. It's spring. That means potatoes. You need all your taters. So I'm just gonna skip all of that legislation stuff and take a big look at my PowerPoint that I printed out here. Okay, back to chimeras. That little growing point is called the meristem, and there's 3 different kinds. Oh, I gotta say hi to everybody. There's the mericlinal, periclinal, and sectoral kinds of chimeras. And okay, so periclinal, that's the most stable of the chimeras. I'm not gonna remember that when I'm not looking at my paper. Like, the entire layer on the top there, it gets taken over by the mutation. So like what you get is like the center of a plant will look like a leaf. The leaves, the edges will be like a different color. That's what you get with those. Now with the mericlinal chimeras, they're unstable, and what happens is like just half of, instead of the whole growing point getting covered. It's just like maybe half or just a little small portion. So what you get is, oh no, nothing's happened today. Let's see, hi to. So what you get is like leaves that are half this color and half another color, which I think look amazing, and like people are always trying to replicate that because people are always looking for something new to buy at the growers. Go to the garden center, you're like, what's new? And you, why am I pressing the wrong button? Jeez. Wait, where's my wife? Where is Penny? Maru's coming. Evelyn's here. I'll wait for her. And so like you also see this kind of mutation in fruits. Like there's a kind of apple where it's like half yellow and half red, if you've ever seen it. I think there's gala apples and royal gala apples. You get different colors going on. That's a mutation. It's unstable. I don't like apples like that much, so I don't really know. And last kind is the sectoral chimera, which is relatively unstable. Like the cells they go down deep into the thing, but it's also similar to the sectoral one. So you'll get like some normal leaves this way, but also the half and half ones. But yeah, people just like chimeras aesthetically because you get multiple different colors in one sort of thing. When it's all supposed to be green, maybe you'll get red and yellows in it too. Penny, be my friend. I have to go find a dandelion for her. Hi, Alex. Get out of here. Whatever. Who am I missing? Any daffodils? Or dandelions? Nope. Okay, so let me just check my review. What did we do? Cloning. What is cloning? Propagation that produces genetically identical progenies. Yep. What is a clone? Genetic identical plant. What is a stock plant? The mother plant. Ooh! Give me that. I'm pretty sure Penny likes daffodils. I don't know. I mostly end up just giving her melons. And cookies out of the trash. What are the benefits of propagating plants through cuttings? No, she doesn't like that. She likes the daffodils. Dandelions. Shorten time to flower fruit, increase vigor, control phases of development, etc., etc. Whoa, Shane, get back here. What an asshole. So, what are 2 ways that mutations can occur? Spontaneously and induced by radiation. How are clones selected? It's just the best one, you pick that one, and it's named a cultivar. What are GMOs? Genes different from... Okay, yeah. I never talked about GMOs. Genes that are different from different plants are inserted into other plants to provide, like, very unique characteristics into that plant. What else? Oh, I have a reading here that I'm not gonna do. You know what? Let's just skip on to grafting. Because there are trees in this game. It's relevant. I might have to do a couple videos to study. Like, I'm not doing this for you guys. I'm doing this mostly for me because I listen back to this and hearing all the information back in my own voice really actually helps me a lot. A leak! A leak! I wish there were more characters. More characters who aren't white. Okay, so grafting. We can go into the terms of grafting. So what is grafting? Grafting is when you connect 2 pieces of living tissue together in a way that when they're put together right, they will grow and develop as one single plant. So like you get a bit of tree, like a stick from a tree, and you put it into a part of the tree that is rooted, and you stick them together and they'll grow as one. They'll merge together. It's like they just combine. It's awesome. So what is a scion? A scion is the detached shoot that contains all the buds. Like that's going to be the top part of your tree. So it's like, imagine if you cut off this little top bit, and then you cut off the top bit of this one, and put the top bit onto the bottom of this one, and it would maybe grow. Actually, it wouldn't, because this one is in a completely different stage of development. Well, actually, no, it's different. It's way too old. It's way too big, and like that's fine. But what you shouldn't be doing is putting a really big part like this. Why am I pointing at the screen? This tree onto a smaller tree because it'll get real top heavy and just fall over. It'll snap. Okay, let's go to bed. That was a successful day 1, don't you think? Yeah. I used all my energy, I talked to a whole bunch of people. Nap time. So, the rootstock is the bottom part. That's where all the roots are, of course, rootstock. And what you can do is put an interstock, which is the scion on top of the interstock on top of the rootstock. So it's 3 bits, 2 grafts, which like helps with oh yeah, fishing. It's like if the top part isn't compatible with the bottom part, but both parts are compatible with the interstock, it'll totally work. Well, maybe. It will maybe totally work. And callus. What is a callus? It's like the scab, basically. When you injure the plant, you get a mass of parenchyma cells that just sort of develop all the way around the wound. And it just sort of scabs together and helps the plant get back to not bleeding everywhere. And when I say bleeding, in plant terms, I mean like sap just pouring out of the cut constantly. Like if a tree is bleeding too much, you can't graft anything onto it because the sap will just push out the other plant, just reject it completely. Sucks. I hate sap all over. Okay. Where were we? So why do you want to graft things? Well, if you graft things, ew, sap. You can, that's another way of cloning. Like, you can't always just perfectly clone trees. Like, you can just, if you want, like, this tree, but you can't, it's a lot harder to grow this tree from seed, but you can just cut off a branch from this tree and stick it onto, like, you just chop this. You cut off a branch, you stick it right on top of there, and it'll grow with already done roots. And it'll be a lot easier. Yeah. Like, that's a way to change cultivars. Like, say you had a whole orchard of apple trees, but you wanted a different kind of apple. Instead of uprooting every single apple tree, you just chop them, graft them, and you got your roots all ready. I don't know how to get a red mushroom at this point. I don't want to go in the mines yet, so I'm not ready. So let's get our fishing rod. So yeah, you can change cultivars, or you can keep clones. And sometimes certain rootstocks... Oh, Willy, look at him. Just smoking by the pier with this pipe. Some rootstocks can like have special abilities? Special status? I don't know. But you can, like, some rootstocks, or some, like, stumps. When I say rootstocks, I basically mean the stumps. Are, like, really good at growing. Like, they'll have really vigorous plants, so you can put a really weak scion on top of a strong, vigorous rootstock, and the weak scion will grow vigorously. And maybe you could get disease resistance, or it's like just all these statuses you can put onto trees. I was actually thinking about making sort of a plant RPG where you go around and identify plants. I called it Plant ID because that's what my class was called when I took it. And I think it'd be fun to just walk around, identify plants. It would have been a top-down, sort of like this. It was like Zelda style. You just walk around, select all the plants, kind of like Pokemon. Kind of like Animal Crossing, you'll get like a few robots that'll help you. But I never really put it together because like I had all the art. It was really bad. So I just sort of scrapped it. I might come back to it. I might do a video about on Game Maker. Because I used to spend a lot of time making games in Game Maker. I never made a good game, but I made a lot of games. It is something that I'd like to go into. Just making games. But it just takes so much time. Like, I made a couple games for some presentations. Like, I'd slap them together real quick, and then I'd just play them in class while I talked. It's always really impressive to some people, I'm sure. but to me it's just like, wow, I could have did so much better. Who knows, I could be the next Concerned Ape if I have enough time. And enough resources. And more art skills. What was I doing? Getting started. Parsnips. Oh, wait. Introductions. Okay, we still got tons of people to go through. Okay, so how do you graft? Let me just talk about that real quick. Oh, wait, there's another way to... You can also fix busted up trees. Like, say you really like this tree, but it gets ruined in a windstorm, but then this tree is totally fine. You can take all the busted up branches from the broken tree and stick it onto this one. They'll keep growing. Hi, Marnie. So, okay, so how do you graft? You graft stuff... Well, you chop it, first of all. I'll go into that a little later. But the one thing you have to do is line up the vascular cambium. So like that's the little layer that's right underneath the bark and right before the wood. If you don't line those up perfectly, it will not grow. It just has to be touching, at least at one part. If it's not touching on any part, the tree will not grow. Looking for... Oh, inventory full. I was wondering. Alrighty. Oh shoot, I was gonna pack potatoes today. Okay, let's go dump all our stuff. Potatoes. Why did I go this way? I'm not gonna get out of here. Gonna have to... Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much the biggest thing. Line up the vascular cambium. That's probably gonna be on the test multiple times. Actually, let's sell some stuff. Buy my taters. So, lining up the vascular cambium isn't enough. You also have to make sure the environment that the graft is going to be put together in is like around between 15 to 32 degrees Celsius. Too cold, it'll just die. Too hot, it'll die. Ideally, you want it around 20 to 25. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Did I say hi to everyone in there? Let's double check real quick. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I did. And you'll know the graft is working when the wound is, like, not a mess. Okay, what do we want? What do we want? Potatoes. Just buy as much as you can. And just plant all of them. I think that's the best way to make money early game. Oops, sorry, I was looking at my papers. God damn it, I was looking at my papers again. So one thing you also have to worry about when you're grafting... Oh! I never... another fusion thing. But you can also, a benefit of grafting, you can make weird plant fusions. Like, you can just make shit up. Like, the tomato. That is a tomato plant with potatoes growing out of the roots. I just remembered. Like, you can just make stuff up. It doesn't matter. But, one thing from that is they have to be compatible. Rootstock and scion. Like, if it's within a species, it'll totally be fine. Like, you're not guaranteed, but it'll be fine. If you're within a genus, that's good. You're not guaranteed, but it's better than if you're within a family. Like, that's possible. Like, you can't do... Well, actually, if you tried to graft an apple tree and a pear tree, you might not have the best luck because apple is Malus and pear is Pyrus. But, according to my professor, or my teacher, it is possible. she was able to graft on a pear onto an apple. But her husband chopped off the the branch, so she isn't sure if it worked all the way. Like, you can do it, but it'll eventually get rejected by the tree. Eventually, depending on how good it is. So if you do like a really good graft, you could get some apple pear trees. They just fuse. Oops, wrong one. So yeah, it must be compatible. The rootstock diameter can't be completely different. Because like I said, you have to match up the vascular cambium. And if they're not even touching because the scion's way too small, it's not going to work, obviously. You know what? Saying all this out loud is actually really helping me. I recommend filming study videos if you have trouble studying and love to play games. Where was I? Like, the timing of the graft has to be good. It has to be in the right season. It can't be too cold. And you need to take care of the graft really, like, properly. So hold on, let me show you what the vascular cambium would be like. Let's see if I can see it. Okay, so you see this little ring of really light pixels right around the edge there at the top? That is where the vascular cambium would be located. Alright. Still got a lot of energy left. Wait, who do we have to see still? All the teens, all the kids. Actually, it's unclear what their ages are. I just call them teens and kids because I'm not a teen, I'm just a kid. I still call people in my class kids. Like, yesterday on Twitter, I was like, all these kids in my class, so and so and so. But they're not kids. These people are in their, like, early 30s, late 20s. I'm 23, but I just perceive everyone my age as a kid because I perceive myself as a kid. I don't know. It's very strange. Like, oh, hi, Alex. Like, do you call people your age kids? I don't trust myself. Okay, I've said hi to at least 20 people now. Emily, talk to me. No, let me through. You know, the easiest way to make friends with people is to just buy a bunch of beer and give that to everybody. Or actually, buy a bunch of coffee and give that to everybody. Coffee is a new thing. It's so much easier. Like, once you get a good coffee bean set up, just give coffee to every single person and they'll love you. Because it counts as an artisan item, and artisan items are automatically liked by everyone. Don't give Penny beer, though. It reminds her of her alcoholic mother. Hello! Oh, so going back to interstock. So say that the scion that you have is not compatible with the rootstock. You can put in a middle piece that is compatible with both of them, and it'll totally work if you're really good. I think it's called double working. Where the heck is Penny? I'm just gonna wait for her. You have to keep the callus all nice too. I don't know how to do that really. But anyway, if you've seen like these crazy sort of... There she is. Oh, Clint. I haven't talked to Clint. Hi, Clint. Stop. If you've seen like these lattice trees, apple trees, where it's like a bunch of trees tilted so it's in a grid formation. They're not just like... They're not all separate trees. Sometimes people will graft them so they grow better. Like the parts where they're all touching in like that sort of grid formation, all the points where they touch, they will expose the vascular cambium and stick them together. Eventually you have to replace this kind of thing fairly often because like all weird grafts will eventually get rejected by the tree. Unless they're really good. But I don't know. You know what's a good source of stuff up here. Oh, hold on. Let me just rearrange everything. I really like having the pickaxe first, then axe, then scythe, then hoe, then watering can. I don't know why. It's only 9 o'clock and it's already so dark. Oh, there's nothing here. Just a leak. Okay. I want it now. Leak. So with grafts, there's also a large chance for viruses to just get in there. If you're not doing it right, it's virus, bleeding, disgusting tree, barf, a mess. So like it could look like it totally worked, but then later it'll just die. Like grafts can also just fall apart. The leaves will die, and you'll see that that could mean that your graft is failing. Yay! And like overgrowth above and below, like a really ugly scabby scab over the graft, like that's not a good sign. Excessive like suckering of the rootstock, like the suckers will just take over the scion, just kill the scion. No, there's just so much that can go wrong with grafting. Like we did the grafting lab, god it's hard. Like, yeah, I'll tell you about all the different kinds of grafts we did now. Oh, it's raining, at least I don't have to water my stuff. What should we do today? I think we should try to say hello to everyone else. Okay, we'll start with George. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of grafting methods you can do. Like, you're supposed to do it in March, so if I wanted to go graft stuff, I should go do it now. Like, I was thinking about cutting this tree in my backyard because it's really ugly and I'd love to try and graft it. But I think it might be too late. Like, the scion has to be dormant. Like, you can't have flowers coming out of the top and, like, if the bottom still had part of it, flowers can't be, like, not ready. They have to be at the same time. Otherwise, you'll confuse the tree. Anyone home? Wait, where am I going here? Okay, what you also want to do is fill this up right away. Get as much wood as possible early on, because there's so many money making opportunities on the other side here. You got all this stuff to collect. Look at that, right here. Hold on, right there. Coral, worth a lot of money. Oops. What was I doing? Oh, I was gonna go see George. Okay, anyway. There's a bunch of different kinds of grafts you can do. The first one I learned is called the whip and tongue, where you just sort of chop the tree at an angle, and then you chop the rootstock at an angle. I'll just wait here. And then you just tape them together, and maybe it'll grow if you match up the cambium right. There's also the saddle graft, where you put the where you cut a notch into the bottom of the scion, and then the opposite side, like a puzzle piece. You stick them together perfectly. The bottom matches perfectly into the notch. The rootstock matches perfectly into the stock, and it'll just sit on top. And you can just tape that up with electrical tape, and it'll be totally fine. There's also the cleft graft, which we did in class a whole bunch. If you've seen my Instagram, you would have seen my awful cleft grafts. Where you just cut right down into the rootstock, and then you just shove, and then you cut the scion into a wedge, and you just shove it in there. My knife was so sharp, I was so scared I was gonna cut myself. But like a successful graft like that, it looks like there's nothing there. It looks like nothing happened. Not the cleft graft, it's super obvious to see that. But anyway. There's also ways to just graft on a bud. Like, you want a bud from this tree onto another tree. You cut off the bud. Okay, this one's called T-budding. You cut off the bud, and then you cut a T into the bark that you want to insert it in, and you just sort of slip it in there. Why am I stuck? There we go. And it'll just sit in there like a little tree jacket. What's another one? Side veneer bench graft. I don't know how to do that one. Side wedge bench graft. I don't know. There's another one that's called chip butting. It's not in my PowerPoint for some reason. But you cut a little chip out of the tree. Why am I here? And then you cut the exact same chip into, like, the same shape into the tree, and then you put the chip with the bud on it right in there. It's like, it reminds me of the way I used to merge gummy bears together. Hey, let me in. Where you bite off the head of one, you bite off the head of the other in the exact same way, and then you swap their heads. That's exactly what grafting is. Like, literally, that is exactly what grafting is. And if they don't match up, it looks weird, etc., etc. You know. Okay. So that's 2 chapters done. Should I keep going? I don't know, I'm already at 40 minutes. We're only on day 3. So I will continue this in another video. Thank you for listening. I'm sure you probably got bored and left already. Maybe you stayed for the grafting and you came for the Stardew, stayed for the grafting. Maybe you came for the study video, stayed for the Stardew. Whichever it is, thank you for watching. I will continue this in another video. Bye!